New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
99.9 KISW. We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Broadcast on the way. We'll sit and spin with the 10 best bass lines of all times. Sit and spin coming up right after emails on our question. What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Quick comment here. A few years ago, I was doing some work on the roof of a crematorium. You can already see where this is going. I was working right next to a giant roof vent that I can only imagine was the vent for the burner. It kicked on, blew hot air directly into my face, so I guess it's possible I inhaled particles of a dead body. If it makes you feel any better, you probably inhaled the particles of multiple dead bodies. So relax.
Every Saturday and Sunday morning, there was a place in Fremont that used to do that. And if you get up for a run or whatever, coming across the bridge, you just see this big poof of black smoke and just go, ha, 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 that's heavy.
Was it a pet crematorium or a human crematorium? Human? All right.
I mean, they cooked it up. They cooked people up every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get them going. You see a big flume go up and go, oh, man, that's
man, oh, man.
Somebody's auntie there.
Somebody said, yeah. Hello, Jose. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Que bola, picholas.
Hola.
I love it. You guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you, man.
All right, so I'm like 9 years old, right? And there with my little group of friends. We're showing off. We got a little ramp build, and we're riding bikes, jumping the ramp, trying to see who gets the most air, right?
Of course.
So it's my turn, and I give myself a nice, good head start, right? I start pedaling. I'm hauling ass, right? I'm just going. I see the ramp. I got tunnel vision by this point. I see the ramp, and I'm getting ready to hit it. I got my tongue out like as if I'm Michael Jordan about to dunk the ball. Right before I hit the ramp, a thick black cloud of gnats just aside slammed right into my face. Oh, my God. I had gnats in my eyeballs, nose, ears, and in the back of my throat.
Yeah. Did you stick the jump?
Yeah, I hit the jump. I landed, got off the bike real quick, ran home,
Oh, hey.
Once again, bedroom callers, here are the 7 words you can't say on the radio. Sucker, mother, and please keep those words in mind when calling. Now, back to the program.
That was kind of one of the reasons that I bought, I had an open face helmet when I bought my scooter.
Bad idea.
It was not, trust me, it did have a plastic thing that came down over the front, but I like to ride, with the wind in my hair a little bit, just kind of get in the face, Open. I must have been driving with my mouth open, man. A bug went in and hit me right in the back of the throat and just fell down. Like, it didn't come out. It didn't crawl out. I was just like, oh, God.
Right.
I got online. I got a full face frontal helmet. As soon as I got home, I ordered it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I was like, I'll let whoever's a passenger on my scooter, they can use this helmet. I have an extra helmet. No big deal. No harm, no foul.
You gotta have the face shield. I mean, I remember once playing baseball, and I had the ball, was doing something, like covering whatever, but as I'm running, a fly goes into my eye. So I just kind of dropped the ball or whatever, and I remember being like, where he's like, what's, I'm like, there's a fly in my eye, and somebody had to come over and pick it out of, it was in my eyelid.
Was it still whole?
Oh, yeah. It was fine. It was just that weird reaction. And I just threw the ball but it's during a play. Then I remember I got to the dugout. My dad chewed me out.
Dude, I got a fly in my eye.
What the hell is that about? And I was like, there was a fly in my eye. But it's hard to explain that to somebody when the fly's gone.
Right.
Yeah. What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Another comment here says, I was 9. I had allergies. My dad went to put Visine in my eyes. I said, it burns. He said, you're almost 10. It's time for you to stop being such a baby. Well, a few more drops. I said, man, it It really burns. Well, it turns out my stepmom would put Listerine in the old Visine bottle to take it camping with her. Oh. Dude, I can't even hold Listerine, the old yellow stuff, in my mouth for the 30 seconds it says to do it.
Yeah, it's like a challenge.
And it really is. Like, swish in your mouth for 30 seconds. Like, how about 5? But I cannot imagine that in my eyes. Hello, Walter. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
2 days from Hawaii. I'm going to miss you guys.
Oh, man. Well, hey, you can always listen to us on the Odyssey app if you need a little taste of home.
Wait a minute. Are you moving there or just visiting?
3 weeks vacation, bro.
3 weeks? Starting to sound like us. What island you going to?
The main island.
All right.
Yeah, going to the resort for the military people over there. Anyway.
Oh, sweet.
I was about 5 years ago, probably more than 10 years ago, in a phone booth. You know when phone booths were around?
Oh, yeah.
There was a bottle there where the phone books used to sit. And I moved the bottle and dropped it on the ground. And the bottle hit the ground and splashed up. It was full of urine. All over my face, and it was disgusting.
So what do you do? If you're at a phone booth, you're not close to home. So how long did you have to wait before you could finally wash this off or change clothes?
Hour and a half.
Oh, God, man.
It was disgusting. Thank God they had wipes, the alcohol wipes took care of most of it, but
I don't know what it is. Somehow, when you pee, you pee. When you poop, you poop. In that moment, poop universally smells worse than pee. But if you give both 3 days to be on their own, somehow pee overtakes poop as far as the stink goes.
Yeah,
I think the smell of old pee is so much worse than poop. And that's saying something. So even when you walk by the homeless guy who's got the super dirty pants, I can tell you've crapped yourself, and there's a whiff of that. But it seems like poop says, look, I stink up front, then I kind of go away. Pee goes, I'm the opposite. I don't smell much at first, but you leave me here, man. It is pungent.
And you can notice, especially downtown and stuff.
Oh, my God, man.
Especially when it rains.
Yeah, you just walk through a certain corner, and it's people clearly pee in this corner all the time.
Remember about a year ago, there was a massive pile of human crap just sitting on the sidewalk about half a block away from here, right? You can see this thing from a satellite. It was a lot of poop. It didn't stink. I can walk to the same 7-Eleven, and just like you said, people pee in that alley down there. I can't see it, but I know it's there. Man.
Oh, it's heavy. It's like ammonia.
God damn.
Have you ever had someone pee on you at the bathroom?
I've had, the worst I've had, no one's peed, my kids have, but otherwise, wearing flip-flops and the guy in the urinal next to you, just the splashback. It's not that they're doing anything wrong, but you're
yes.
I will not wear flip-flops into a public place. Next time you ask me why I walk into the ocean to pee, that's part of the reason why, man.
Mine was at a Sounders match. So, very family-friendly.
Sure.
Kid walks up with his dad.
All
He's
right.
probably 8, 9 years old. He's tall enough, but just over the lip. And his dad's to the right of him, so the kid is in between me and his dad. He starts peeing. It's almost like immediately he's just peeing on my feet. I don't know if he had a 2-streamer. Right. I don't know if it was the splash. I didn't want to look down to see what his, last thing you want to do is look down at a 9-year-old's penis to figure out what's going on.
Why is he peeing?
With their dad standing beside them. But all I could just sit there and go, because I have shoes on. So not only are my shoes getting wet, but I can feel it all over my shins.
Of course.
And
you can feel the moisture seeping through.
Oh, yeah. And if it's a full-grown dude, you can say, hey, man, cut the screen.
I looked over at him. He's got his head straight ahead. I'm like, pay attention to where you're doing this.
Right. God. Last person peed on me, and I've said this before, my son, it was 2 or 3 years old. It's a nightmare scenario where this happened. We're leaving Philadelphia. We're flying back to Seattle. Everyone's in a bad mood. The kids are at each other's throats. The whole nine. The plane finally takes off anyway. And in spite of the fact he had to be 3, so I had to pay for his seat, which annoyed me because he spent it in my lap. And I'm like, there's an empty seat that I paid for. But he's sitting in my lap. But the flight attendant, before they started beverage service, she looks at me and she can tell, just as a parent with little kids, you're going through it right now. So she goes, you look like you could use a beer. I said, man, I really could. I'm going to grab you one. So my mood improves immediately. She disappears to grab me a beer. And we come back. I put down the tray table. She sets it down, opens it. And the second that she opens this beer, my kid hits it, and it pours backwards directly into my lap. And keep in mind, he's sitting on my lap. He does not somehow bypasses him, lands in my lap. And I'm like, God damn it. But in the time that it takes me to reach the can to put it back upright, my lap goes from ice cold to body temperature. And I realize he has followed this up instantly by peeing in my lap. He has now peed on me. There is beer on me, and I'm completely soaked, man. So my wife, who's not feeling great on this flight, it's like, you got to change him. Because I'm in the aisle seat, and I'm like, man. So I got to lift his ass up. And now as I'm walking through the plane, it looks like I have peed myself. Right? Because the only person who's wet is me. There's a guy, and I don't know this guy. He has pieced together what's happened. And he kind of chuckles. But, I mean, I'm pissed, man. But he kind of chuckles. I look him dead in the eye. I'm like, it's not goddamn funny yet. And he kind of threw his hands up. But I changed the kid, whatever. We come back. The problem is, like, all of my clothes are in the suitcase at the bottom of the plane. Because of his age, we have things to change him into. So now he's perfectly dry, dead asleep. And all I can smell is pee and beer on this long 5.5-hour flight. And you know that weird thing? If you're wearing wet clothes and they dry on you, just how your skin feels and all that.
It's like a skin rash.
Oh, my God, man. And I just reeked of pee and beer.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
I've told him that story. He doesn't remember. He thinks it's hilarious. I'm like, it's not. It's not hilarious. I'm telling
Every time you tell that story, I just picture me being on the other side of the plane just kind of giggling like, oh
I'm
man,
so mad.
That sucks.
Yeah.
He had been there.
Yeah, he had been there. He had the look of sympathy, but I'm like, don't laugh yet. I'm still wet, and I stink, man. I just wanted a goddamn beer. That's all I wanted, rotten-ass kids. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so this was a while ago. My girlfriend at the time, she's over at my place, got Chinese takeout, watching scary movies, so all the lights are out. And I got the Kung Pao chicken with peanuts on top. So pretty much finished with dinner, go use the bathroom, come back, see one of the peanuts on the couch, grab it, pop it in my mouth. Well, it was one of my cat's treats. He's usually good at finding them, but it wasn't. He didn't find that one that evening.
How'd it taste?
It was, you know, I forgot the flavor. It was chicken or salmon. I don't know, but it was just kind of like crunch. It was like ew. And then, you know what? It was almost down my throat anyhow, so I just swallowed it. It's like, that's not going to kill me.
One thing I've learned is
man.
If it's kind of dark and you think it's food, don't eat it. Like if it's not on your plate, like, ooh, look what I dropped on the table. Like, man, look at that before you put it in your mouth. It might not be food. It's just a live and learn process, man.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tyler. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, Victor.
Hola.
All right, so this is like 2 summers ago now, I think. And it was a hot day. I'm working outside in the yard. I'm mowing the lawn. I'm going around and I move some stuff out of the grass so I can mow there. A wasp comes up, stings me in the ear. So I'm already ticked off now. I run inside. I see this Arizona can sitting on a table. And I'm like, oh, it's only from last night. It'll be fine, you know. I take a big swig and drink like 4 or 5 flies right down the throat.
Were they alive or were they dead?
Oh, no, they've been sitting in there since probably last night, you know, cooking up in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you puke it back up or did you just muscle through it?
Oh, I swallowed all 4 like a champ, you know, and then realized when I poured it out on the table that there was like a lot of flies in there.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah, that does not make me happy, man.
No.
Nothing about that at all. I remember we had one of the restaurants. Kid was eating salad. He's done it with his parents. Kid's maybe 5, I guess. I don't know. But he had found like one of those little green worms.
I've eaten half those.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So they found it in the salad. So the kid's kind of freaking out. But I remember the manager was all I hear her say is, well, the good news, love, is that it's not just half of it. That did not go over well with the parents.
Right.
She was trying to just make a joke and lighten it. They weren't having that at all, man. The whole meal had to get comped and all that.
It is the truth, though. At least they found it before he ate it.
Yes. There's nothing worse than half of it, right?
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
I think when I was a kid, I ate a cigarette once. So my one grandma used to smoke all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just one of those things as a kid, we must have thought they were tasty because it was always in her mouth.
Wait, so you ate it, like intentionally ate it?
Yeah. There was like,
I thought you swallowed it. You actually ate the cigarette butt?
Well, not the butt, but I remember like for some reason we thought it would be delicious.
Sure.
So we like broke them in half and were like chewing on. I guess we probably started choking on the tobacco. I somewhere like Mimi was mad. Like, what are you guys like? Why would you eat that? But like now as an adult, I can look back and be like, well, as a kid, you see somebody putting something in their mouth.
It must be delicious.
It's got to be delicious
because you do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Hello, Steph. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So, pretty dang near, I almost swallowed my wife's vomit.
How does that work?
So she was diagnosed with gastroparesis not too long ago, and she would randomly throw up. This is before they removed her stomach, but she would throw up in containers, any container that she can get her hands on. And one night she was in my car, had a soda container in my car. She failed to mention she threw up in it, so the next day, going to work, I wanted to take a swig of my soda, vomit right up the straw, down my throat.
Oh, what did she eat? What had she eaten?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say they removed her stomach, like they removed the whole thing and replaced it with something?
90% of her stomach, because, our stomachs are about a fist size. Hers is about a golf ball size.
How much weight has she lost? Just based on that one thing?
A lot. I mean, she's when I first met her, she was, like my thick babe. She got some curves on her. And I'm not saying she's not beautiful now. She's gorgeous now, but she doesn't have those curves like she used to.
I bet she does not, because she doesn't have a stomach. She can't eat.
I'm sorry?
She doesn't have a stomach. She can't eat.
Well, no, she has 10% of her stomach that works, because gastroparesis is paralyzing of the stomach.
Right.
So they
damn.
they took the parts that didn't work.
So how much can she, eat at one sitting?
She probably 2-3 bites at most.
That's a meal.
Does she eat a lot? I mean, in other words, could we still get as hungry as she used to? Or is it just the fact your stomach's smaller, the appetite goes away?
No, she gets hungry. She grazes, instead of eating meals, she grazes throughout the day.
Okay, I got you.
I see this has 3 sliders. Could we just get 1 slider?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. We need to get a White Castle.
I know. Yeah, that's
So I'm not going to order a burger, but can I get just a small side order of the tots?
Right. Could I get 3 tots and a slider?
Just order off the kids' menu.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jake. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I was cleaning out my car, and I found this vial of white powder, and I tasted it. I'm like, what is this stuff? I pour out a little line and sniff it, and I'm like, that didn't taste like anything I recognized. And my buddy calls me later in the day, and he's like, hey, did you find a vial in your car? And I'm like, yeah, what was it? He's like, oh, that's my dried internet test for my Wizinator for probation.
That doesn't taste familiar.
So you took a taste of it and a sniff of it.
Yep.
Rubbed your gums with it, sat on the couch, put on a movie, just waiting for something to happen.
Doesn't happen.
So looking back at it, is there anything urine-y about powdered urine?
It's a little sour.
Okay. That's,
Come on.
I let him find his buddy go, hey, man, you found a vial? Yeah, it's my dry urine.
I like that he knew his buddy well enough, too, to be like, hey, if you find a vial of white powder, don't mess with it. Like, I can't believe this guy was just like, screw it, I'll test it out.
Yeah. I'm going to do that next time I leave Coke in somebody's car.
That's my dried urine.
Hey, don't do it. Don't do it. Give it back. Give it back.
It's right here.
Man.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The men's room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Going to the dentist. Good times. Imagine going for a routine procedure like getting a tooth filled, and then hearing that you might have to have part of your lung removed because of a dental drill, a bit that you swallowed. That's exactly what happened to Tom Josie, a 60-year-old man from Illinois this month. He was at the dentist getting a tooth filled. Next thing he knows, he's being told that a drill bit went down the back of his throat. That'd be bad enough, considering that a sharp metal part could have pierced his intestines, but a CT scan later showed he had not swallowed the drill bit. He'd inhaled it, and it was now lodged in his lung. I'm at the dentist getting a tooth filled. The next thing I know, I was told maybe I'd swallowed his tool.
Not the right way to say that.
I didn't really even feel it go down. All I felt was a cough. Guess they were able to successfully remove the bit from his lung, the foreign body. Our question, what did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Here's one to bother everyone. It says, I I put a used tampon in my mouth as a kid. My aunt thought it was a lollipop in my mouth.
Oh,
that's the worst lollipop ever, brother.
That is awful.
Yes, it is. Where was it that you thought it was a lollipop?
Trash can.
It's not in the freezer, right? Hello, Josh. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, dinosaurs.
Hola.
All right, so this is probably about 16 years ago. I was probably 16 years old. I was out with some friends. I came home about 2:30 in the morning. And do you guys know what sugar ants are?
Yeah, little teeny tiny ones.
Yeah,
right?
well, I swallowed like 200 of them.
Why?
Well, they were in a soda can that I had on my nightstand when I was living with my parents. It was dark, and I got sat up to take a drink of my soda, and I instantly felt something weird in my mouth, and quickly realized what it was and started throwing up in the sink that was in my room. I had a bathroom in my room, and that was about the time my mom busted into my room screaming at me because she thought I was out drinking with my friends. And she turned on the light, and there was just a sink full of little tiny sugar ants in my sink. And I proceeded to puke them up for about an hour and a half.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Were they biting the inside of your mouth?
No, they don't really bite. They're really, really, really tiny. It was just, there was a lot of them, and it was fairly disgusting.
That's the thing about them. They are super tiny, and right, they don't really bite, but if there's one, there's a million.
Oh, yeah. God, there were so many of them.
Okay. No, thank you.
What did it feel like in your mouth? I mean, could you kind of feel them individually, like lots of individual lumps?
Yes, exactly. It just felt like, it's hard to explain. It was like having a mouthful of BBs, I guess, is what you would, how I would explain it. But as soon as I felt it and felt that there was multiples, I knew exactly what it was. Because when I was growing up, we actually had a problem with sugar ants in our house. And I've seen them on soda cans before because they like anything that has any kind of sugar in it.
Yes.
So I instantly knew what it was. I didn't need to turn on the light to see it. But like I said, my mom was super mad thinking that I was drinking. I was like, I'm not drinking. She's like, that's bull crap. You're puking all over the place. And she turned on the light, and that's when she also realized that I had just swallowed a mouthful of ants.
You were not living in this area, were you?
Port Orchard, Washington.
Really?
No,
This is the first place I've ever lived where I didn't have an ant problem in my house.
Really? We took care of it just last summer. We had the sugar ants, and to his point, they actually found a bag of sugar, which we now keep in a Ziploc bag, but they got into sugar. I didn't realize. I made myself a cup of coffee in the morning, right? Took a couple teaspoons of sugar, threw it in, stirred it up, and after I stirred it up, these little black things started floating at the top.
Ooh.
And I'm like, God damn it, man. So I look in the bag of sugar, and there's, however many are in there. I'm like, okay, all right. So I didn't drink them, but I'm like, look, there had to be like 15 of them.
I feel like when I was a kid, we used to get them in our cereal.
Yeah, if it has sugar, man,
These are a little bit bigger. Now I recognize what they are.
Yeah, they're teeny tiny. When we lived in upstate New York, we had carpenter ants, and they are much bigger. It doesn't hurt when they bite you, but they can latch onto you. They're just big enough to do that. And we had a serious problem with these things. The house is made of wood, whatever. And but I had a little fro back then. I'm in like 5th, 6th grade. And I didn't realize, but like in my sleep, I guess I just walk across the bed. But I get up to go to school. I'm washing my hair. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And there's like 3 dead ants in my hair. Yeah, it just made going to sleep. Like, dude, I don't want dead animals in my hair.
I told you we would, right? I remember it was a Memorial Day weekend, right? Because the Indy 500's on.
All right.
So Frederick, Maryland is not that far from where I grew up. But as a kid, it seemed far.
Yes.
So I don't know where the rest of my family is. My dad's like, well, go up there. There's a minor league baseball team. And then we'll spend
Frederick Keys.
Frederick Keys. And then we're going to spend the night in a hotel or a motel, right? It's got like a pool. So you know how it is. Like it was I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's kind of a crappy motel. But it had a pool, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm like, this is great. We're swimming, and then I wake up in the middle of the night, right? My dad's like, we got to change rooms. Because he woke up and saw an ant and then turned on the light, and they were all over his head and all over his bed. Right? And then they were like, oh, yeah, we'll move you like to the other side of the building and stay in that room.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's much better there.
Oh, yeah. Look, I checked into a hotel room. This is years ago in Jamaica.
All right.
And it's probably the 90s. And whoever did the thing, they did the thing where they put the towels and make them decorative.
Yeah, of course.
Put them on the bed, and then they had some native flowers.
Okay.
That they had put in the middle of this display on the bed. I go to move these flowers. About 900 bugs jump out and scurry into the bed. And I'm just like, oh, hell no.
Right.
So I know, like, oh, hell no. They're gone. And they were there. I mean, they ran out of those flowers. It's like, oh my God. You know, like, I don't know if the nest hatched by the time that the maid put it on there. And I was like, we got to get the hell out of here. We got to change rooms. I'm not sleeping in this bed. What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Boo, bitches.
Boo.
So this is probably 6 years ago. I used to phone tower cranes.
Okay.
And we send the honey buckets up to the roof and then back down to get them cleaned and whatnot. I was on the ground landing them, and I was pretty new. And my dad had come by maybe like 2 days before, give me some pointers and say, hey, when you're landing these poopers, you want to kind of stand back, don't have your mouth open, cover your mouth, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right, 2 days later, I'm bringing them down to the ground, and I get a blue drop right on my tongue. Yeah, that was unpleasant.
We see that
like straight chemical.
There's probably no less than 6 towers going up out the window in the studio that we've been watching, and you always see when the honey bucket comes down, because it's just the strangest thing in the world.
It's like 200 feet slowly.
It's just weird to see it up there.
It is being dropped 20 stories.
Yeah.
Which is just,
especially when the wind is blowing, and you're like, oh man, if that part of me hopes it falls. It just lands in the middle of downtown. Everyone in a 1 block radius, just get a little spray.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Belinda. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, what's up, buddies?
Hola.
Hola. So back in 2009, my boyfriend and I, we were completing a pretty big shopping trip to Winco. So when we went to Winco, we went to the bulk section, and that day we decided to buy some trail mix and some bulk dog food and a few other things. And so we came home and did some fishing, drinking, and smoking. Well, apparently in the middle of the night, I got a pretty big case of the munchies. So I went into the kitchen and I got the bag of trail mix, took it back to the bed, and munched down. Well, the next morning I woke up with a mouthful of dog food. And I realized that morning that I had not grabbed the trail mix, but in fact I had munched out on some pretty organic dog food, I guess.
Must not have been too bad.
I was going to say, how good was it that you still continued to eat it?
Well, I didn't know that I was eating dog food until I woke up the next morning with a really strange taste in my mouth.
Okay.
And then I realized that I had the bag of dog food next to me.
There was a story about 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe, about a guy who had been stopping in a convenience store, gas station.
Oh, it was a gas station, yeah.
And he was buying his favorite biscuits.
He'd been doing it for 20 years.
I want to say his daughter saw what he was eating one day and said, "Dad, what are you doing?" And
well, he said, basically, he would always eat these biscuits, and he explained to his daughter, an adult daughter at this point, and said, well, I always stop at this gas station, and I don't know if it's every week, every day, but it was consistent for 20 years.
Daily.
I buy these delicious snacks, and I pop it in my mouth and eat them.
And then she told him what it was.
Well, she went to the store to find out what they were, because she had never heard of them. She couldn't understand, like, what are they? He's like, look, I don't know. They just have them. I buy them. I eat them. All right, that's my thing. So she went to the gas station to check it out, and she's like, dude, they're dog biscuits.
Now he won't eat them.
He won't eat them. Like, but you like them.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
I'd probably stop eating them just because I know they're dog biscuits. Not that they would. I don't know. I would just have a hard time being like, yeah, I just snack on dog treats now.
That's why he'd stop doing it, because it sounds horrible. He stopped doing it because it's like now it makes him sick. Like, you've been eating them for 2 decades.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
But, that happens with a lot of food.
What do you mean?
Like, sometimes it's texture or whatever, but, like Like, sometimes you just know what it is. Like, I'm sure snake is delicious. Just the idea of having a snake in my mouth is like, ugh.
Actually,
I love eel, but I struggle eating it because every time I go to take a bite of it at a sushi joint, I just picture that little water snake.
I like eel. Don't picture them because they're one of God's ugliest creatures.
They're much more ugly than a snake.
I know, but it looks too close. It's a thin line between
eel and
things.
snake.
It looks like an uncircumcised penis to me.
Yeah, it looks like a skinned snake that lives underwater, right? Take the skin off a snake. We were in Mexico last week, and we did not ask for this, but toward the end of our meal, it's all four of us sitting there eating, and we get 2 mezcal shots, me and the wife, all right? So they come out, and they have some orange slices. It's covered in some kind of chili powder or whatever. And then on the side of the plate, there is a pile of fried grasshoppers. Now, just so you understand, it's not like they look different. They just look like fried grasshoppers. They just look like dead grasshoppers on your plate, which is essentially what they are. But they spice them up and everything. And so me and my wife were like, let's try it, right? And but my kids, they're sitting at the table at this point. Keep in mind, we're across the street from a park. So they're kind of looking at the plate. And they're like, what is that? I said, well, what does it look like? They're like a pile of dead bugs. We're like, they are. They're grasshoppers. And like, why are they on the plate? And I said, well, because people eat them. So they kind of look at each other. They look at me and my wife, and we both pop one in our mouth. But side note, they're actually quite delicious.
I was going to say, I was looking them up. They look pretty good.
They're actually, they look like dead grasshoppers, but they're really, really good. The kids did not say a word. They both got it from the table, left, and just went to the park.
No kid.
They didn't want to hear about it.
Why don't you order some now, so that if you need to get some time,
right, to get the kids away from it,
go play in the yard.
The only thing about it, like you bite into them, about half of it is just crunchy like a Cheeto, and again, the flavor's good, but where the harder shell is toward the back of their body, it would be like it's almost like a rubbery sunflower seed, not the seed, but the shell around it.
All right.
So it's a little tougher to bite through, but it wasn't gross. It didn't taste bad. We ended up eating more than I thought we would have. I'm like, I can't believe this.
Do you like fried shrimp heads if you go to a sushi place?
I don't like them, but I know a lot of people eat them.
I order them all the time.
Really?
That was the thing. My kids were like, what are you doing, Dad? I'm like, these are the best.
Do you eat
tried
the
them and
tails?
said, these are terrible.
My brother eats the tail. So anytime we would get shrimp.
If you fried them and did them.
You could saute them. It didn't matter. So everyone else is like shelling their shrimp, all right? And so you have the pile on your plate. And my brother would always ask, are you going to eat those? I'm like, eat what? And he's pointing. I'm like, no. You mind if I have them? No. So he would eat everyone's. It would just drive my father. My father would make him stop doing it because it pissed my father off.
So I'm with Maya. Like, if it's fried, or especially like a tempura fried shrimp, or like,
no, these are just straight steamed shrimp, dude.
Yeah, sometimes I just eat the tails. But yeah, I had a buddy, it kind of weirded him out. I was like, really? Like, it's fried. Who cares?
I always do.
They don't taste bad.
And isn't it like Hawaii and Japan? It's always like you eat the whole shrimp.
The whole damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How old were you the first time you saw a head-on shrimp? Right? Because you always got like shrimp, and then, as a kid, you get shrimp, it's just shrimp. It has the tail. And then the first time I saw them with the head on, I'm like, Jesus Christ,
like
man.
served? I mean, I think I had to be like 25.
That's what I mean. It's half their body.
I think the first time I saw it was in paella.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sure. Yeah.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK, or something from the bayou.
Right, because where we live, like, nobody did that. They're always just
headless.
Right.
Always.
They might have a shell, but they're headless. And then I would think it would be out here in Seattle, like, much more heavier influence.
With the prawns, I see it a lot more, sure.
Yeah.
Hello, Rachel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Okay, so over a decade ago, a long time, kingdom far away, I was married to a Marine, and he was out for a week doing BLD Marini stuff and came back while I was still tending bar. So I got back really late. He's already asleep. And I thought, I'm going to wake him up with some wifely duties. I'm going to be a good Marine wife, right? And so I'm going at it, and all of a sudden just something's off. And I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. And I'm like, did you put something on? Because I'm allergic to different lotions and stuff. He's like, no, keep going. And I keep going. And like, things are just not right. And he's like, no, keep going. It's great. Keep going. And I'm like, really? Because my tongue feels like it's starting to get numb. He's like, oh, expletive, stop. And it turns out, preventative measure from being out in the field for 5 days, he had sprayed his junk with dust next. So I had to call poison control. And this lady is asking me, how did you ingest it? How much? And I'm like, I don't know, however much he sprayed on his junk. So I got hung up on by poison control twice.
Are you
serious? They thought that I was prank calling them.
What did he spray on there again?
Desinex. So poison control hung up on you twice because they assumed you're joking.
Yep.
And meanwhile, you're kind of panicking because, like, you don't want to die.
I was talking like this.
So did they finally take your call on the third call, or did you go to the hospital?
Oh, no, they took the third call and then took me seriously.
Okay. Because I figure you only want to explain that once.
I think it was like a different person the third time, and I was like, please don't hang up on me.
I'm going to say something, but I'm not joking.
Home from a long shift, working your ass off.
Damn.
Unbelievable.
How did you get it? Well,
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Blake. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, I was a little kid, like probably 4 or 5 or something, and we were going through, it's like a kind of a manicure, like a flower garden kind of place. And my mom's a smoker, and she was, didn't want to throw her cigarette butts out everywhere, so she's throwing them in a soda can. And I get thirsty and reach over, grab the soda can, take a big old chug. And I didn't get any cigarette butts or anything, but I got a whole bunch of ash in the dregs of the Pepsi can.
Yeah. That's actually the worst part to me, man. I've had a couple cigarette butts go down my throat back in the day, right? And they did not bug me as much as the taste of just that cloud of ash that's mixed in, man. It's like, oh, God.
Probably made the Pepsi taste better, though.
It was horrible.
Hit it, man. Always check your cans.
That's it.
Check your cups, check your bottles.
Yeah, I'm with you, Corey, because the cigarette butt, for some reason, like, you could chew on that,
You don't
but
taste it. It just goes
it's
down.
that ashy water.
Oh, man. It's all thick and sludgy.
We did a poll one day on Big Dummy about, put a couple wasps in your mouth or maybe a live scorpion. We get all kinds of different crap in there. But that is the reason that I most of the time, if it's up to me, I will not drink out of a can. Because I picked up a soda bottle in the backyard at a birthday party, took a big swig of it, and a bee flew in my mouth, and it stung me like 3 or 4 times. And since that point in time, I take the can and I pour it into a glass first. If the glass is available, I pour it in a glass.
My dad's the same way. If we're outside in particular, his hand, it can be beer, soda, doesn't matter. His hand just sits on top. And it was a family reunion or something. I can't remember, it was uncle, cousin, whatever. But he said a dude took a swig of his Coke and immediately threw the can and started screaming. Everyone said what happened. And he says, look, before he could utter, I got stung by a bee. Basically, it's like, I got stung, because the lip blew up, fell over the top one. And since then, he's like, I just keep my hand over top.
And with our beer and a lot of other things, we get a lot of cool stuff from people. A lot of times, people have koozies. So I've got a Yeti koozie.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got a men's room koozie. I know, Ted, you're a big fan of the koozie.
I have a ton of them.
Problem with a koozie is that means you're drinking out of a can outside.
Right.
And this is where this happened to me. So when I see a koozie, I'm like, oh, hell no.
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
Because this is the perfect way to put myself in that situation again. You don't use a koozie inside.
Right.
You take it outside.
I bet you Ted does.
Yeah,
Well,
I do all the time.
Okay. I just think of it as an outside thing.
I always get annoyed when I'm drinking cans of beer cans of anything, and I don't have a koozie.
I feel like sometimes when you sit it down, it'll just fall over.
I know. If you get those lumpy ones, you're like, God
seam in
damn
the
it.
middle.
Yeah.
What did you accidentally inhale, swallow, or touch? 206-421-ROCK.
It's also easier as I was always I put my thumbprint in a can.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Right? But then a lot of people, everybody has their little tricks, but this past weekend I was in a room with 5 or 6 beer drinkers and everybody was kind of doing the same trick. I was
be the one who doesn't.
We need koozies.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like a jersey number.
Yeah.
Hello, Tanya. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello. Hola, hola.
Hola.
So, to preface this, I have a dear sweet husband that gets up early every morning and gets our vitamins and medications together. Well, I take a lot of gummies because, got to have my candy somehow. And I also take a fish oil. Well, you can kind of guess a fish oil capsule, dropping it in your mouth, chopping down on it, and that taste does not go away for many, many, many hours.
Well, I didn't know that because I take 2 every morning. So
don't bite into it, dude.
You're right. It's the omega-3s are just this little yellow gel filled.
And is it the oil from their liver or something like that?
I'm not going to analyze it. I just know it is so incredibly
Well, I know my father used to, when I was growing up, like anyone, if you're a parent, when your kids are young, when they're bitching about something, you explain to them how much worse it would have been if they were your age, blah, blah, blah. So when I was young, my father always gave us Formula 44 M or D, whatever the thick black stuff was, right? And so my brother and I would hate it, and he was just like, you guys need to shut the F up. When he was growing up, the only thing his mother would use, it didn't matter, you could be constipated, you could be sick, didn't matter, was cod liver oil.
Oh, yeah.
And we always asked, we said, what does it taste like? He said, it tastes like goddamn oil from the liver of a cod. And that was their so he's like, don't bitch about this, man.
Well, this is what happened. So I had a high cholesterol. So I was talking to Castle, just with the doctor, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, my wife has high cholesterol. She takes these fish oil pills. You should take them. Here's the brand. Buy them. So I did. And I still haven't gone back for my next year to check up to see if this actually works. I hope it does, because it worked for her. Either way, I used to tell Steve all the time, there was this, right after the pills dissolved, I get to work, it'd be about an hour, and I'm like, man, wearing a mask, I'm like, man, this mask smells like vagina.
Right? It was all the time. All the time.
I was like, man, it smells like...
I was like, what did you eat?
Then all of a sudden, like, ding, 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 ding. Ah.
That's what it was.
Omega-3s.
Damn.
Just when they dissolve.
Yeah, sure, for months, man. He's like, I don't know what it is, man. I swear to God.
It just reeks. Vagina. Like, I haven't done that.
It can't be that.
No, it's not that. Speaking of Ryan Castle, we'll sit and spin him with the 10 best bass lines of all times. That's coming up next.